So, this week's topic kind of revolves around something that I had to learn the hard way and actually ended up being a very useful lesson for me. And this is something I highly advise anyone do, no matter how much you believe in this type of stuff. Strongly advise it because, man, it has made a big difference, right? And this is a romantic relationships type topic, right? If you're not interested in romantic relationships, I mean, the description would kind of hold this, so please avert gaze, right? But what we're going to talk about is understanding your partner, right? And understanding what things help you and trigger you within your relationships, specifically in regards to knowing your partner's love language and attachment style. If these are two phrases that you've never heard before, buckle in, right? Because I do want to make sure you understand, why does love language matter, right? Love language is how you express your love and how you want to be shown love, right? So for instance, if I am in a relationship with somebody who needs constant affirmation, I know that that's a struggle for me because at a certain point, it's emotionally draining for me to constantly have to remind somebody, and it feels like I'm being accused of not doing something, right? So I know to be careful or to be more cautious or manage expectations better if I'm in a relationship with someone whose primary love language is words of affirmation, right? I know that for myself, I prefer physical touch and quality time, right? I don't like my time to be taken for granted because my time is truly the most valuable resource that I have in my possession now, right? Everything else I can get more of. Time is the one thing other than, outsourcing chores that I would do. Other than that, I can't really go to the sand dial and I want to have a little bit more time today, right? When I have gotten overwhelmed by events throughout the course of the day and I look at my watch and I realize, oh my God, it's already 11:30 at night. That time's gone. I can't just go, well, I didn't finish everything I want to do. Roll that back. I want it to be 9:30 now, right? So in this, there is a website. It's called The 5 Love Languages, I believe is the actual website. If you Google The 5 Love Languages, you'll start seeing what it's talking about. And there's a free test on there, right? This is an awesome opportunity for you to sit down with your partner, do these tests, right? Because when you sit down with your partner and do these tests, you and your partner can both identify what it is that you need to feel loved, what it is that they need to feel loved, and how you can both add in elements to make each other feel more loved. For instance, for me, I don't care about gifts, right? Acts of service make me super uncomfortable, right? Because I'm like, how do I earn this one? Because as much as we try not to, sometimes our minds work in a very transactional stance, right? So if someone does this grand romantic gesture for me, I'm sitting there like, oh God, I'm in trouble. And so it's good for my partner to know that, because if my partner is accustomed to showing their affection through grand romantic gestures and they do a grand romantic gesture for me, chances are I'm going to be really uncomfortable and then they're going to feel unappreciated, right? Now, likewise, if they know that the most important thing to me is physical touch, and they go around and whenever they pass me, they give me a hug, right? That to me shows more than what that grand romantic gesture did, right? And has a more significant impact for me and is a lot less difficult for them to be able to do. So this is why I say it is so important to understand both your love language and your partner's love language. It helps reduce a lot of conflict, helps things get through a lot easier, and helps us make the best out of our time together. I'm telling you, there's nothing much better than when your partner feels, appreciated, affirmed, loved. and you feel the same. Like, that is a great feeling. So the next topic I'm going to get into is attachment styles. If you're not familiar with attachment theory, get familiar with it, because this is one of the biggest things that lead to a lot of, in my opinion, I am not a registered medical provider of mental health services. In my opinion, attachment styles are some of the biggest things that lead to depression, right? Because people feel invalidated, they feel unloved, they feel anxious, they feel cathartic in these relationships, and they struggle and try to get through, and they don't know why. And then their partners develop a sense of learned helplessness and start freaking out, and there's all these issues, and they exasperate each other's issue, which further compounds onto what their attachment theory or their attachment style already was. So there's a lot of different attachment styles. The most uncommon one that you'll ever encounter is like secure, right? Most secure attachment styles that I've encountered in my life have been people who did not have a secure attachment style to begin with and developed one they develop coping mechanisms to a non-secure attachment style, such as an anxious avoidant, to be able to get where they're at, right? The other is people who have never experienced a disappointment. And it surprised me to find out that's a real thing. There are people who have never been let down, who have always been able to count on others around them and have always been, in a situation where they feel appreciated and loved. And that's amazing. I didn't know that was a thing until I encountered it, but there are people in that situation. They are oftentimes secure because they're not worried about those things, right? But have you ever dated somebody that just wants unfettered access to everything about you, right? They want you to erase. You've had a password on your cell phone since you got it, but they want you to turn that password off or give it to them. They want unlimited access. They want to be able to check your phone whenever they want, right? That's not a healthy attachment style. Right? That's a sign of anxiousness. And what they're trying to do is that as a coping mechanism that their mind is adopting in order to help them feel less anxious or to be able to catch it early so they can avoid the relationship, right? Knowing somebody's attachment style helps you to better interact with them and better engage in what's called accountability management so that you can figure out what is the real problem here. Why are you behaving this way? Like for me, I am a firm believer that even if you are in a relationship with somebody, both partners are entitled to their privacy. Just because you have a relationship with someone doesn't mean that they need to be in every little inner thought that you have. It doesn't mean that your relationship is the amalgamation. I completely messed up that word. It's the homogenization of your existence now, of you and your partner's existence. You're still an individual. Individuals can have thoughts. They can be introspective. They can decide not to share things, right? There have been times, for instance, I've had people come to me multiple times to seek guidance. Like, hey, my partner did such and such, and I feel this way about it. Am I wrong? Am I being, the butthole in this? Am I, a jerk? And I listen to them, and I'm like, okay, well, seek a little bit more context and everything else, and then provide that guidance. Now, if their partner knew that they were seeking guidance from someone outside of the relationship, 9 times out of 10, the partners get really angry, right? Because how dare you share our relationship problems with someone else, right? But the reality is, if you don't, and you don't have the answers, and you're trying to make sure that your rationale is just that, rational, if you don't share, if you don't have that privacy to be able to feel safe to talk about those things, and how do you work through those issues? And again, when we talk about safety, a lot of people, specifically avoidance, they don't feel safe. They are hedging their bets on that relationship to not work out. They are hedging their bets that something's going to go wrong. This relationship's going to fall apart, and they're looking for every little reason to affirm that belief. So having an awareness of your attachment theory, your attachment style, having an awareness of attachment theory helps you not only be a better partner to your romantic partner, it helps you be a better friend. It helps you be a better employee. It helps you be a better boss. It helps you be a better parent, right? All of these things help you be better, right? When you talk about love languages, usually we only think about love, but that's typically how people want to feel appreciated too. So if you're a boss and you have employees that you're asking a lot out of, knowing what makes them feel most appreciated, obviously the physical touch thing is a little bit like out of it for being a boss, but knowing what works for them and makes them feel most happy and satisfied and most rewarded in their job helps you do a good job at tending to them. Understanding what makes people feel anxious or fearful, right, in a relationship. And bear in mind, relationship goes far beyond just romance, right? Knowing what causes people to feel insecure is critical in helping them feel secure, right? So I hope this lesson kind of helps out. Remember, attachment theory or attachment styles can be Googled as well as the earlier topic. And there are free tests to be able to see what is your attachment style. Just like there's the free test to be able to know your love language. So I highly advise couples doing these things together. And I do feel that this can greatly improve the relationship. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.